This program is designed to provide general information with regards to the subject matters covered. This information is given with the understanding that neither the hosts, guests, sponsors, or station are engaged in rendering any specific and personal, medical, financial, legal, counseling, professional service, or any advice. You should seek the services of competent professionals before applying or trying any suggested ideas. The information contained in this podcast is intended for informational purposes only and is not a substitute for individual professional legal advice. The podcast information was carefully compiled from vetted sources and references. However, R.O.S.E Resources Outreach to Safeguard the Elderly cannot guarantee that you will not fall victim to a scam. Let's talk about scams. It's the must-listen show for anyone who wants to protect themselves and their loved ones from scams. Every Tuesday at 8 a.m. Pacific Time on K4HD Radio, Joyce Petrowski, founder of R.O.S E, and her guests will provide valuable insights and practical tips on how to recognize and protect yourself from scams. And now, here is your host, Joyce Petrowski.
Hi, I'm David.
Staying active mentally, playing chess, those are all very important things.
I'm 72, but I'm going to keep on learning. I'm going to keep on moving. I'm going to keep on living my life.
Healthcare for David's next move. Learn more at archwellhealth.com.
Welcome back, everybody. I'm Joyce Petrowski, founder and board president of R.O.S.E Resources Outreach to Safeguard the Elderly. Just coming off a long weekend from July 4th. I hope everyone had a great celebration, and happy birthday to the United States, 250 years. You can find more information on our website at roseadvocacy.org. Scroll down to the bottom of the homepage. You'll find where you can sign up for our newsletters. We do one in the mail each month, and we do one via email. The one via email every Tuesday morning at 9:15 a.m. Arizona time, you're going to get a Tuesday tip. And it's going to have great information in it, some of which you might not know, some of which you might already know. But no matter if you know it or you don't, the just as important reason to get it is it's helping you build your scam prevention habits and your healthy skepticism. You'll also find all of our social media channels on the top of the homepage, and click on that YouTube and click subscribe, because you'll get notified every week of what's coming up on our radio show. You can find all the past episodes on there as well. And really quick, I want to thank our sponsor, Archwell Health. And I highly suggest, if you have not gone in to take a tour of the Archwell Health location where you live, and you don't have to be in Arizona, they have them all over the United States. You can just get on archwellhealth.com and check out their locations. They are an awesome primary care provider for Medicare patients, and they have really thought about the smallest details to help reduce the anxiety of going to the doctors. And they have the capability of bringing in your family members as well that maybe cannot make it to the appointment, but are part of your health journey, or maybe they live out of state and are part of your health journey as well. So today we have a guest with us, and I want to welcome Joan to the show.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thanks for being on, Joan. And so you were at one of our presentations a few weeks back, and we had a conversation afterwards. And you told me about some scam experiences you had. And thank you for being willing to come on and talk about these so we can help other people. The first one I want to get to is, actually, it was just this year. You said in May of 2026, you had some fraudulent charges on your Medicare summary notice for Part B. Do you want to tell us a little bit more about those?
Yes. And by the way, thank you for using the words healthy skepticism, because I'm a pretty trusting person. And it takes a lot, too much sometimes for me to be suspicious. I received the Medicare summary notice, and as many of us, my age, know, when it says this is not a bill, we either ignore it completely, or then our eyes go down to total you may be billed. And as long as that says zero, or a very small amount, we don't turn the page. We don't look. And that's what this one says.
That's true.
This is not a bill.
Yes.
Total you may be billed, zero. And then I turned the page, and there were 5 separate monthly, August, September, October, November, December of 2025, bills for, each one read as follows: 300 intermittent urinary catheter.
Wow.
And the amount the supplier charged, this was per month, $2,050.
Wow.
And then it goes down, you follow the table, and it says Medicare approved amount, 0. Amount Medicare paid, 0. Maximum you may be billed, 0. And the final column is see notes below.
Okay.
Footnotes A and B are listed. So then, and whoever looks at these, A says the information we requested was not received. And B is you should not be billed for this service. You do not have to pay this amount.
Okay.
Now, again, there were 5 of these. So the total was, if my math is right, $10,250.
Wow.
This was a Medicare notice.
Mm-hmm.
I called Medicare, and I talked with 2 very nice people. I got a human right away, which was
good. Good.
And they told me a few things. The first one was just the normal representative you get. And I told them the situation. I said, have you heard of this before? Has this ever happened? And he said, oh, yes.
Mm-hmm.
He said, unfortunately, this is pretty common. And by the way, since this has happened, I've talked with a number of friends of mine, my age, and I'm in my upper 70s.
Okay.
And one had exactly the same thing happen to her.
Oh, wow.
Anyhow, I'm talking with the gentleman at Medicare, and he says, do you want to file a fraudulent claim report? And I said, yes. How do I do that? And he said, well, I'm going to take some information first. And he never asked me for my number because the phone number on the notice did work. It said how to get help with your questions, and it gives you the phone number to call.
Okay.
And after he asked me some questions, he said, I'm going to transfer you now to a fraud specialist. I talked with the fraud specialist for another 5 or 10 minutes.
Okay.
And here's what it sort of surprised me, but didn't surprise me. I asked the question, will this be removed from my Medicare records since it's obviously fraudulent?
Right.
And she said, the investigators will attempt to determine who is committing this fraud.
Okay.
However, these claims, though unapproved and unpaid, may never be expunged from my Medicare files. And I may never learn about the results of any investigation.
Okay.
She said, if I choose, I can request a new Medicare number. But then it would be my responsibility to give that new number to all of my medical providers.
Right.
That made sense, but I've decided not to do that yet, especially when I learned that other people had this exact same charges for catheters. And I then Googled the company name that's shown. and I learned a lot because it said, yes, this is a fraud that's been going on for some time. So what did I learn from this, if anything? I've learned not to ignore, not to go beyond page 1,
Right.
to look at every entry. And I know sometimes it's really hard to tell if you may not recognize the name of the doctor or the nurse practitioner who actually, whom you saw. But if you keep dates, if you keep a calendar, which I do, you should be able to check back. Was I at any doctor? Oh, yes, this corresponds.
All right.
So sad to say, it's a little late in my life to go to that trouble, if you will. But yes, I'm going to check all the entries from now on.
Yeah, absolutely. So, a couple things. Talking to the fraud specialist at Medicare, I understand that they said, that you're not going to get any more information about the investigation and all that. I was a victim of a tax-related identity theft, and I wanted to know, like, what address this fraudulent return that was sent in my name and social security number, and they wouldn't give me any information,
Okay.
about it. But the one thing that he told you was that these charges may never come off of your account.
He said they may, but
Okay.
he said basically he said don't worry, because it's always going to show zeros, and it's always going to show that you owe nothing. And what he did explain something else to me. He said, we get so many of these fraudulent claims. We try to track down every single one. And sometimes if we want more information from the victim, from me, someone may call you, but they will identify themselves as being from Medicare Fraud Division.
Okay.
But because there are so many, they can't guarantee. And this particular company, and should I give you the name of the company that is asking for this? Okay.
No, because it could be a totally fake company, but it could be somebody impersonating a real company.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I wouldn't
point.
want people to think, if it is a legitimate company and somebody is just impersonating them, I wouldn't want people to think it was a bad company.
Yeah. But they said you may be contacted by someone, again, from Medicare. But because there are so many, and this particular scam is well known to them, sad to say. So.
Yeah, it was, I want to say maybe a year and a half ago, I talked to a lady who told me she had started looking at her Medicare statements and found out she was being charged for tens of thousands of dollars with catheters, which she's never used.
Yes.
So it's, and the presentation that you saw from us, that was just a portion of our full presentation. And one of the things we do talk about is Medicare and how it is always good to look at your statements and look at what you're being charged for.
Yes.
And always, if you find charges that are not yours, that are fraudulent, to always report them to Medicare, because you don't want those charges affecting your any future benefits you might be entitled to.
Yeah, very good.
Yeah. And then always using a Medicare agent, because, you don't have to pay the Medicare agent. It doesn't come out of your Medicare benefits, your Social Security benefits, but they're trained and they're required, by law to go through training so they know all the new things that are happening, any changes that are happening, and then they can look at their clients and say, okay, this new plan or this plan, because it changed, is going to be the best for you. Because I think a lot of people, they they talk to their friends and family, and somebody might say, oh wow, I've got on this new Medicare plan and I'm really saving a lot of out-of-pocket cost. And so then by default, a lot of people think that, well, then if they get on that plan, it's going to save them a lot of out-of-pocket. And it might not, because your health situation is different from your friend or family member's health situation. And
Exactly.
I mean, but you could, if you got on Medicare's website, you could go and review all the new things happening, all the changes that are happening. There's going to be a lot of technical terms in there that you're
Yeah.
going to have to understand. And
I haven't done that yet. I've got, I am I've transferred from another state when I retired
oh, okay.
and moved here to Arizona. And you're calling him Medicare agent. This is the gentleman from my original state. I still communicate with several times a year.
Oh, good.
And he handles my supplemental
Okay.
insurance. So that's what you're referring to, right?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
So someone that you can, when annual enrollment comes up,
Yes.
October 15th, that you can go directly to him and say, okay, what's new? Anything changed? Do we need to review my policy? Is there anything, or maybe something changed with your health that you can then talk to him and say, well, this is new in my what's going on with my health. And then, or maybe prescriptions or whatever. So then they can help you navigate which plan works best for you.
Yes. And I hope everyone has someone like this.
Yeah.
I've dealt with him now for a number of years. And one of the things that I'm happy about is that he's so much younger than I am that I know he's going to be around, and I can continue to count on him. So
yes. So when you're 10 years down the road, you might not have to worry about trying to find a new agent. Yes. So so let's look at the next one here. This is regarding your an impersonation scam with your insurance company.
Yes. And by impersonation, it wasn't, I was not being impersonated. The insurance company was being impersonated. And as I mentioned, and this is if I said the name of the insurance company, everybody would know it.
And you can say, because we've already said it's an impersonation scam. So we know it's not actually the company, it's someone purporting to be them.
Purporting to be State Farm Insurance. And I have been a customer in both states for many, many, many years. Well, I got an email, and it said in the subject line, it said State Farm. And then in the actual email, it had the typical State Farm logo, icon, whatever it's called.
Okay.
And then it said they were offering me a very nice home protection kit.
Oh, okay.
It included things like a fire extinguisher, a blanket to throw over flames, and like about 6 or 7 different objects. And it would only cost me $11.95.
Wow.
Yeah. And I like a good deal.
Everybody does, right?
Yeah. So I decided, okay, yeah, I'm going to, it's from State Farm. This is a great deal.
Right.
So I clicked where it said click here, and it brought me to a site that said, give us your credit card number. So I did. I put in thank goodness I only have one credit card and one debit card. So the credit card that I've had for years, I put the number in, and they didn't take it. It said, we won't accept this. And I assumed they wouldn't take it because it wasn't it was like the one that can I give the name of the credit card company? Well, it was one.
Yeah,
It
sure.
wasn't one of the real big ones.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I mean, yeah. Okay.
And I assumed that was why. So I went back a couple of screens and I put in my debit card number, thinking, okay, this is actually one of the major ones.
Larger
It's a
banks,
debit
yeah.
card. And I said, we can't accept this either.
Wow.
And I assumed it was because it was a debit card.
Okay.
Well, that's all I had. So I stopped. I closed out and thought, well, the next time I go to my State Farm office, I'll ask them about it.
Okay.
Within a few days, well, actually, it was within 24 hours, I got the first email saying, we're charging you for the something.
Okay.
Whether it was the kit actually, but it said we won't accept your card, and so I
Right.
didn't understand. So then I called my credit card company,
Mhm.
and I said, and they're very good, and they said, I said, what are the recent charges that I've gotten? And they named all the legitimate ones, and then they named two that I did not recognize. And you
Okay.
couldn't tell from the identification what company or what you bought. And
Okay.
that sometimes is true. But
True.
I'm pretty good about keeping track of my credit card purchases. And because it was that date that I had actually hit on the link and I had entered the numbers, even though it said we won't accept them.
Accept it. Mm-hmm.
They started charging for,
Wow.
and they were small amounts. One was for, I think, $29, and another was for, not so small, but $59.
Okay.
And I then, very shortly after that, a couple days later, got a bill from the credit card company, monthly bill, and it showed these, and I immediately called and said, this is not something I ordered. And we discussed it, and we determined I had to cancel my number. And what I learned from that is that, I left a part out. So in between this time, I was speaking by phone with a good old friend from my original state.
Okay.
And I told her about what was happening. And she said, Joan, did you look at the from line? And I said, well, it said in the subject line, State Farm.
Mm-hmm.
And it's got the icon. And she said, go back to the email and look at the from line. And I did. And sure enough, it said nothing about State Farm. It said a name, and I did not recognize any of it. And she said, always look at the from line. And if it's something you don't recognize, just delete it. So that was the lesson I learned from that. But I had to cancel both the credit card and the debit card.
Yes.
The debit card also received fraudulent charges. Another thing I learned is apparently the bad actors who do this, a lot of people don't look carefully enough at their credit card statements.
Mm-hmm.
I do now. I check off every single one, and I keep my receipts for the month. And if there's anything on there I don't recognize, I immediately call. It seems to me that these bad actors will nickel and dime people like me and say, oh, she's never going to notice that there's an extra $40 charge here. A couple of those a month, boy, in a few years, we can get a whole lot of money from this person. And it's sad to say, well, I've never been the brightest bulb in the box, but I'm also not the most stupid. And I used to think, oh, I'm never going to be prey to any of these scams. Well, It happens to everyone.
Everybody.
Yeah.
And it's just how easy was it for that, right? It's so question, when your friend told you to look at the from line, was it just you saw what it said in the from line, or did you hover over it with your mouse to look at the actual email address?
No, I didn't.
Okay.
There was the from was an email address.
It was, okay.
Yeah.
Because sometimes they will, they might put in there like State Farm,
Yeah.
congratulations from State Farm, or I
Yeah.
don't know, something
Yeah.
with State Farm to make you think it is actually a legitimate State Farm email, and you
Yeah.
wouldn't know unless you hovered your mouse over that what it
Ah.
said, to then it'll then show what the actual email address is.
And I had totally forgotten until you mentioned it. I had totally forgotten that fact that you can hover
Mhm.
and reveal. So I'm going to
Yes.
have to remember that now.
Yeah, and we always tell people to make sure you write down every character
Ah.
in the email address, because like with State Farm, it's a big insurance company. A lot of people have it, so they
Mhm.
get impersonated all the time by the bad actors because they
Yeah.
know they're going to be more apt to get people to believe the email because there's so many more clients, because
Yes.
State Farm is such a big insurance company.
Mhm.
And I'm just off the top of my head. Oh, so the S, they could change it to a 5.
Mhm. Mhm.
And your naked eye is already thinking State Farm, and are you going to read that as an S?
Exactly.
Right. So we say write down every character and look at the characters to see
Yeah.
that they make sense when you put them together.
Mhm.
Um,
And you think that, well, I don't have to be that careful, but yes, you do these days.
yeah, because they're just refining, the scammers, the criminals, they're refining what they're doing, and they spend, I mean, hours and days, refining and just making the slightest little change, difference that
Mhm.
keep us on our toes,
Yeah.
that we're not necessarily looking at. And you were right that they're charging small dollar amounts because they know most of us don't look at every single detail on
Mhm.
our credit card statements. Some people are like, oh, well, that balance is pretty accurate. That's
Pretty
about what I
close.
normally spend.
Yeah.
Or okay, well, I expected it to go up a lot this month because I was on a trip or whatever.
Yeah.
But you can also, and I don't know if you do this with your credit card, and I'm sure the bank would do it with your debit card, is you can have an alert put on your cards where
Oh.
you get notified, and it could be an email or a text message of every transaction that happens. Or if you say, I don't want to know everything, but I want to know everything over $10 or over $20 or something like
Oh.
that. And then that way you get notified, and it usually comes within minutes of that transaction happening. And so then you look at it and go, and like with you, you're the only one on your accounts. Is that right?
Yes. Mhm.
So yeah. So you would look at it and go, that wasn't me.
Oh, I'm
And
going to do
you
that.
call, and then you could call them right away. It doesn't prevent the fraudulent charges, but what it does is it helps you mitigate them. So as you said, when you're talking to the credit card company, you only have maybe a couple of them you need to say, yeah, that wasn't me. Because
Right.
if you had not gotten your statement within a couple days, and it had been maybe a
Yes.
couple weeks,
Mhm.
you might have had a lot of charges. You might have had to go back and go, okay, I need to
Mhm.
find the receipt. I don't know if that was actually me that made that purchase, or
Mhm.
it just it takes more of your time.
Yes.
And, none of us budget any of the time having to deal with fraudulent charges.
That's so true.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's a necessary evil when it happens that you
Yeah.
have to spend that time. But all
Mhm.
right, well, let's look at where are we at? This is the one, a tech support one. You said in
Oh.
2022 you were working on your home computer and suddenly the screen froze.
Yes. Yeah.
Yes.
And I couldn't do anything. It sure looked like it came from Microsoft.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a big phone number on the screen. Call us, and our tech support will help you right away. So I called. I called on my landline.
Yeah.
That time I had a landline, and very nice young man, said, we talked, and he said, let me proxy in with you. Well, Wally, I know what that means.
Okay.
And I was about to let him, but as we were talking on the landline, you know how I'm looking at your screen right now, and
Right.
across the bottom, it says tune in to Let's
Yes.
Talk About Scams.
Mm-hmm.
And something came across the bottom of the screen, and there was a misspelled word in it.
Oh.
Now, I used to be a pretty good proofreader, and I said, wait, Microsoft wouldn't have a misspelled word. So I took my cell phone in my other hand, and I dialed, I clicked Best Buy
Mm-hmm.
with the scammer on the
Yeah.
landline.
Uh-huh.
And in the cell phone in the other hand, got a hold of someone at Best Buy right away and told him what was happening. He said, immediately hang up, turn off your computer. And I was lucky that time. About 2 minutes later, we turned the computer back on and everything was okay. And I never let the guy proxy in, but I was saved by the ability to see there was a misspelled word.
Yeah.
And who thinks of that when you're in panic?
Most people don't.
Yeah.
Exactly, because one of the things we talked about was the emotions, right?
Yes.
And they put you in a panic state. Panic is an emotion.
Mm-hmm.
And because you have been a lifelong proofreader, you look at words a different way.
Yes. Yeah.
But that is such a small percentage of the population. Most
Yes.
people don't look at words that way. They would never have noticed that slight little misspelling across the bottom.
Mm-hmm.
They're in that panic mode. All they want to do is get their computer fixed.
Yes.
And it's so you can see how quickly that could have escalated had you not seen that misspelling and then said, wait a minute, this doesn't make sense.
Yeah, but I was lucky. And before with the credit cards, my credit card company and the bank that handled the debit card company,
Mm-hmm.
I was never charged anything, so I never lost any money.
Good.
I did have to file some paperwork with
Right.
the bank, but they took care of it, and I'm so grateful.
That's good. That's good. I'm glad. More and more people are saying when they have fraudulent charges on their debit card that the bank is not holding them liable, which is, they're putting the money back in their account, which is great to hear, that they're doing that, because
Mm-hmm.
debit card is direct access into your bank account,
Yes.
right? Which is, why we tell people, really the only reason you should use your debit card is if you're getting money out of an ATM, which is at the bank. Don't use those ATMs that are just sitting on sidewalks and stuff like that.
Interestingly, I use my debit card only for two things, and I keep a register of every transaction on my debit card, like a checkbook register.
Mm-hmm.
And I check that against the statement I get every month.
Okay.
So,
all right. Very good. So one of the things on that tech support scam, you said, after you talked to the Geek Squad and they said, hang up and turn your computer off. And then you waited and then you turned it back on and everything seemed to be cleared.
mm-hmm.
With what I said earlier, that scammers are getting better at their techniques and stuff. So they're figuring out ways that even by turning off your computer and then, and you can leave it sit, but then turning it back on,
Mm-hmm.
that loud noise, that pop-up, whatever it is still there, that it's not going away. So, people need to know that just because turning it off and then turning it back on and have it go away, that's great. But just because it doesn't go away doesn't necessarily mean it's legitimate, which is, and we did talk about our tips in that presentation. And I emphasized why to have a good tech support person.
Yes.
And you thought of Geek Squad right away, and they're one of the most well-known tech support places that are in Best Buy to call them. And, it could be an individual that has his own tech support company, his or her. It could be another company, not Geek Squad, but always have them in your back pocket, because when things like this happen, you're not going to have panic on top of the panic already from thinking that, you're losing everything on your device.
Right.
Is to, oh my God, who am I going to talk to? So, well, this person seems really nice and trusting, and, they already know there's something going on. And so,
Right.
I need to talk to them. And they say they're from Microsoft, right? You said it looked
Oh,
like
yes.
it was Microsoft.
Oh,
One
yeah.
of the things, when we mentioned before about looking at the email address, and this goes with whether it's an email address or a website, if you're looking at one that you think is Microsoft, and so it's Microsoft.com, but if it's a lowercase r and an N instead of that lowercase m, are you going to see that little space?
Now, even a proofreader would
Might
not see
not.
that. Yeah.
Exactly, because your mind is already thinking Microsoft.
Yeah.
So you're reading that as an M. And another reason why, if you just pause and you write down those characters, and you're looking at a character and not a word. But having that tech support person, and it could be a family member or a friend that you trust,
Right.
that, maybe they don't have a tech support company, and that's not what they do for their job, but they're very in tune with how all of that stuff works, that they are going to be your first person that you call and say, my screen froze. This is what happened. What do I need to do? And they could probably help you navigate through maybe sometimes all of the situation, or get you to a certain point where then they say, I think you need to talk to somebody who
Or have someone come out.
exactly, and so it's just great to have that in your back pocket, so you're not panicking on top of panicking.
Yeah.
As and like you said, if you would have let that nice gentleman, because they always come across as nice and helpful, into your device, that could have just escalated so quickly and gone bad so quickly.
Yeah.
All right, let's look at
that.
this. This might be the last one. Yeah. Let's see here. You said in 2015, you were in a different state. You were on a commuter train ride home from work and received an urgent email from a good friend asking for money. Tell us about that one.
Well, the email, it was very short, and it was the accurate email from her address, her email address. And it said, please, can you help me? I got a call from my sister, apparently in another state, and she was either in an accident or something happened where she needed money. And the wording, it just made your stomach knot up. And it wasn't long. It was only a couple of sentences. Can you help? Well, I wanted to immediately get home. And what I would do is I would call this friend and commiserate with her and say, yes, I can't help a whole lot, but what do you need? Well, I still had about another hour train ride home after I read this. And I'm thinking to myself, wait a second. This friend, we'll call her Sue, and we've known each other for only about 4 or 5 years, but we've gone out and had coffee, etc., and told each other.
It was someone that you trusted.
Yes. And I sat up and I said, wait, she was an only child. She doesn't have any siblings. So I got home then about an hour later, and I called her. And she said, oh, Joan, I'm so sorry that you got pulled into this too. Everybody's been calling me. Someone stole my email address and they're sending this out. And she said, luckily, the people who have called me, no one has sent money to anyone. I don't remember if there was a place to click on that. That was, over 10 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
But that's when you start getting extra cautious.
Yeah.
But again, we have so little time to read all the emails that we get.
Yes.
And that's another thing that I have to start doing, is I have to start paying closer attention to everything in an email. And of course, never to click on anything unless you're 100% positive.
Right. That it is legitimate.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's, so yeah, a bad actor had gotten a hold of her an email account.
Mhm.
So they probably had her log in and were able to log in and send emails to all of her contacts that she had in there.
Exactly.
And impersonate her, right? Luckily, it sounds like a lot of the people called her. Well, one, because they were probably wanted to talk to her, to just, I'm so sorry this is happening.
Yes.
What can I do? But, as busy as everybody is, and had you not, well, you said you wanted to call her immediately when you got home, but there's a lot of people that wouldn't. They would just automatically go through the process. Like
If
I
there
need,
was a link.
yeah, I need to get her the money and then I'll call her, right? To see how things are going. But
because you're running on emotions then.
Absolutely, you're running on emotions. And I think one of the things we talked about was making a decision off of an emotion versus a logical state of mind. A lot of times it's a different decision, and it's not one that we would normally want to make.
That's right.
But could you see how, if someone got a hold of the email account, what damage a bad actor could do if they were able to get into someone's phone?
Oh, yes. Yeah. It really does scare me to think, as you say, they are the bad actors, and the processes that they're creating have evolved so much. As soon as they hit a roadblock somewhere, they learn how to get around the roadblock.
Yep. Yeah.
And I've never been the greatest at tech, but I do know how to operate my computer. And yeah, it's just so scary.
It is, right? And a lot of us aren't tech savvy enough to handle a lot of things that go wrong on your devices. And your phone is really a mobile computer.
That's right.
I believe we did talk about that as well, that you need to make sure you have your phone locked down. I even not too long ago turned off the text message previews on the previews you get on the lock screen. Because of I have some of my multi-factor authenticator codes sent to my authenticator app, but I still have some of them that are text message. And a lot of times that preview shows that number. And yes, it's convenient because then you don't have to open your phone and go to your text messages. You can see it right there. But if someone's trying to get into your account and they've gotten your login and now they're sending you, this text message for the code, and maybe your phone's in a locked screen, but you leave to go to the bathroom or you leave it on a table and you're talking to someone for a while. The code could show up right there. So,
my, that's going a little bit beyond my knowledge.
Yeah, you just go into. I'm gonna pull it up on. Do you have an iPhone?
No, I've got
Android.
A semi-smart phone.
I think I have to remember how I did this. I think you just go down to in your settings. You go to apps.
Yeah.
And then you go to messages.
Okay. I'm writing this down. I'll check it
Yeah.
out later.
Yeah, you go to messages and then boy, there's a lot of stuff in here.
Yeah. But that's okay. I can.
No, it's text messaging. Let's see. You go to notifications.
Okay.
And then you go down to, it's on the iPhone, it's under lock screen appearance.
Okay.
And you can have it, it says show previews, and you could say always, which is the default, or you could say when unlocked, or you could say never. And I have mine shown as never. So what shows up on a lock screen is it shows that you have a text message. And if it's from someone in your contacts, it'll have the person's name. And that's, it won't show any part of the text message. You have to open your phone and go into the text message to read it.
Okay, excellent.
Yeah.
Very good.
Yeah. So, all right. Well, Joan, I can't thank you enough for being willing to share these experiences with us. I think having these personal experiences, because everybody is different with their experience, really can help people.
Yes, and you've said before, the more you talk about it, and the more often you hear the vocabulary of scamming, the more alert you'll be.
Right.
So
right.
thank you.
You know, you're very welcome. It's, you know, we need to start making scams and scam prevention a positive thing to talk about. Because if it's always in a negative context, nobody's going to want to talk about it.
Right.
Make it positive, you know, make it, you know, talk about experiences like you did, right? You talked to your friend and they were like, oh my gosh, you know, this is what you need. Your friend knew that, right?
Yeah, that was a surprise.
Yeah. And so, yeah, sharing your experiences, talking about it can definitely help other people. So absolutely. But thank you again, Joan. I really appreciate your time. And
that's okay. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, I hope we stay in contact.
Yes, thank you.
All right. You're welcome. All right. Thank you guys for joining us today. And a big thank you to Joan for sharing her scam experiences with us. Lots of great information here. If you're going back, if you want to go back to our YouTube page, the link is right on our the top of our homepage on our website at roseadvocacy.org, and listen to the whole episode again. Lots of great, valuable information there. Different scams that Joan had experienced, and then also some prevention and protection tips in there as well. And don't forget to click subscribe to the YouTube channel so you get notified of what's coming up every week. All right. Thank you, guys. I'll see you next week.
Well, that's all the knowledge for this episode. Tune in every Tuesday at 8 a.m. Pacific Time on K4HD Radio at k4hd.com as Joyce explores a variety of knowledge so you have the power to make scam protection your healthy habit. And until then, feel free to reach out to Joyce and let's talk about scams.